gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof.
Looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes! Oh, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. Having, of course, technical difficulties on a Saturday, but we are finally here. It is Sports and Sorts, episode 163, and it's a Saturday morning. We go live on YouTube every Monday and Saturday mornings around 10. I'm just going to start saying around 10. Because no matter when
10-ish.
we say we're going to go early, then we don't start until late, and there's just so many issues that come along with trying to do this. I'm just going to say 10, 10-ish. We'll be live 10-ish, but we will always let you know when we go live. So if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, or if you follow us on Twitter, you will get that notification. Just got to click on the link, and it'll take you here where we go live on YouTube every Monday and Saturday. You can also find our podcast or on anywhere podcasts are played. Also at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And once again, facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, Twitter at Shane and Bryman. There's no the in there. There's none. It's just at Shane and Bryman. We post all our videos and other newsworthy topics. All right, so we got a little something to talk about today. We got a few topics that we're going to be talking about today. One is how Stephen A. is amazing. His job.
He really is.
We will be discussing that in a little bit. We will also be talking about how LeBron is a fraud. And these are things that I don't know where the Bryman's going with this. I'm not really sure.
Oh, I'm so done with that a-hole.
I've heard a lot of stuff, but
He's such a scumbag.
So, wow. All right. So, we have some LeBron talk. We have some Stephen A. talk. And just currently, we were let know by one of our cohorts on the page, one of the people that we talk. He starts talking about how Machado got offered a contract, and it happened to be from the Yankees. And we had Bryce, Harper, and Machado stuff to talk about today because we were kind of forcing the issue because they still hadn't signed yet. But something dropped in our lap, and that makes us happy. So we are here. Yeah. Machado has been offered a contract in the $220 million range for approximately 7 to 8 years. Don't know the exact details yet because it hasn't been done. But
here's what we got, though. We have some information. So the source of this, and thank you again, Damien, for letting us know, especially just minutes before we went live. The source of this is Jim Duquette, who is he's a baseball analyst for MLB Network Radio and Sirius XM.
He's a moron, by the way.
He is, of course, also the former general manager of the Mets and the Orioles. 20 years as an executive in baseball. There's some credibility here to the tweet. It wasn't actually a tweet. I think he was actually on MLB Network saying it. And of course, social media has taken this and completely run with it. Again, just to reiterate what you said, 7 to 8 years in the range of $220 million. He did, however, add, and this of course makes sense, that there are, quote unquote, a lot of teams that are in the range also, and that he's heard that another club has gone further than that, which I also believe. But one of those things with Machado is you wonder if everything is true about him wanting to be a Yankee, you wonder if it's close enough, does he take the offer? That's the question. Now, of course, social media is jumping all over this. Marcus Stroman, who is the ultimate pot stirrer he has got to be one of the best pot stirrers in social media.
I have always liked that guy. I just want to say, I like his fire on the mound, but I also like his personality. Yeah. I really like him a lot.
You know what's funny about him is he's a small guy. He's diminutive. He's like 5'8", but he brings a lot of passion and fire to the mound, and he's a little firecracker on social media. He's hilarious.
He's got the best smile probably in baseball too.
He does. He's got a good. He right up there with like Curtis Granderson. I mean, he's just a great but he's a good personality for baseball. But
he's still. I mean, he's got to be close to 30 now too. Yeah, and he looks like he's about 14 still.
Yeah, he looks like a young guy. But about a half hour ago, he tweeted. This was great. He goes, AL East. Powerhouse division in the MLB. I'm hearing a team in our division is close to adding a big-time Gold Glove infielder who plays shortstop / third base. I wonder who. LOL. And then of course, so then MLB's Twitter picks that up. They retweet it with like the big. They don't say anything. They just do the one with the eyeballs, all the eyeballs, looking, in one direction. And then Sports Illustrated gets in on it, and they're like, "Tell us more, Marcus." and then actually, it was kind of funny though because Marcus then said, "I just be tweeting after all these rumors and reports come out. I'm not the source. Y'all be out here acting like I'm Ken Rosenthal." LOL. And then Sports Illustrated was like, "Thought we almost had our first Stro bomb."
That's nice.
So I guess. I think what's going on here is that Marcus Stroman, again, he's just going off of what he's seeing. He even acknowledged that what he picked up was a post from The Score.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've heard of The Score, but they're to me they're kind of like one of those sources that I put right up there with I don't know, frankly us. I mean, whatever. Wow. The Score. If I see something, I mean, they got the blue check mark. But if I see something from The Score, I'm not getting really excited. But let's talk about this as a hypothetical, okay? I mean, at this point, here's what we know about the Yankees. They have Troy Tulowitzki. They have DJ LeMahieu. Eventually, they will be getting Didi Gregorius back. As far as I know, Miguel Andujar is still the starting third baseman for this team. So the Yankees have a gluttony of infielders at this point. I think the one thing that we know is that LeMahieu is going to play probably every day, and the Yankees told him to bring a lot of different gloves with him. So you get the feeling he's going to be all over the infield. And again, they didn't sign a guy like DJ LeMahieu to be a bench player. That guy's going to get 500 at-bats this year, assuming he's healthy. I also think that DJ LeMahieu is insurance for Troy Tulowitzki because, let's be honest, the Yankees just don't know what they're going to get there. They really, really don't. They will not know until spring training, and really they won't even know until the season starts just what that guy can give them.
Right.
Now, here's the question that I have. How long ago was this offer made? And is it still a current offer? Is it still an offer that's actually out there for the taking? Could Manny Machado still accept this offer? Has this offer been pulled? Again, I don't even know if it's real. I don't even know if this is a legit offer. There are so many questions. There's way more questions here than there are answers with this.
If Stroman's saying it, then the word's getting out there.
But again,
I actually was just looking in the background. I was trying to see who his agent was compared to Manny Machado because I know
Manny Machado is Dan Lozano.
Yes, and it's the MVP Sports Group but they're not even like I think he's with Legacy Sports, so it's not there. There was no crossover there. Like I was trying to see if he might have gotten a little bit of a tip maybe from his agent or something like that, but no, there's nothing there. So it'll be very interesting to see how this turns out because we have been very much saying from the get-go that we do not need him. He's not a necessity. Would he help us? Possibly, probably. I can't say it's a huge need. Like we have a guy who can hit at third. He's not as good of a defensive third baseman, but we have other people that are going to probably fill that void when Didi Gregorius gets healthy because people are going to shift. You're going to have DJ LeMahieu probably playing second most of the time. Then you're going to have Glaber playing third most of the time. And then on top of that, then you got to figure out what you're going to do with Andujar. But I think if they sign Manny Machado, that's like it's a tipping point. This is where if they sign Manny Machado, heads are rolling. Like you might see a huge blockbuster trade at some point from now until the trading deadline, where a lot of their younger talent is going to be going by the wayside because they have Gleyber Torres. I know that they're going to want to keep one of those two guys. They're going to want to keep Gleyber or Andujar because they're going to need to fill that void when DJ LeMahieu's contract's up in 2 years. Yeah, so absolutely, they have the ability. They have the ability, if they do sign him, to get somebody else via trade. I mean,
it's got to be a pitcher,
right?
Got to go after a pitcher.
Where they're going to have.
There are no more spots in the.
I mean, first base is still up in the air, but I mean, I think they're still going to try and go Bird one more time and see how that works. I would also deeper lineup.
I would also argue that to some extent left field is still sort of up in the air because yes, I mean Giancarlo Stanton can play there, but he's going to be DHing more often than not, and Brett Gardner is not an everyday player at this point, and we have no idea who or what Clint Frazier is other than a cat hoarder. So, I mean, it's hard to say at this point, what's going on with the left field situation. I would say Brett Gardner is probably your starting left fielder with Stanton DHing. That would be my best guess. But if you want to assume that Brett Gardner is an everyday left fielder, that is an unsafe assumption.
He has not been an everyday outfielder for about 2 years now. He can play out. That's not true. He can play the outfield. He's an abyss at the plate now. Like he's nothing. He doesn't have the speed to steal bases he's always had the speed. He just doesn't have the first step to steal bases. And now his speed is slowing down a little bit. It's going to make it even more difficult for him to steal bases.
I do agree with you. First of all, I still think the chances of this happening are very slim. I know it's picking up a little steam this morning. Things are getting a little hot on Twitter. But I still don't think this is happening because I just don't think the way the Yankees are operating right now that this is a direction that they're going to go. You also have to keep in mind that the Yankees are currently over the threshold and they are going to be this year. So they are going to pay a tax. This would push them into the next tier with a bigger penalty. I really don't. Now, yes, we know that they reset the threshold so that they could go back over it. But do I think that they're going to really go this crazy? I really don't. I don't think they're going to commit another $30 million a year or so for 7 years to this guy. And look, it's not that it would be a bad contract.
No.
It's just that because actually at 7 years and around $30 million, that's really not that awful. It really isn't. But I just don't think the Yankees are going to do it. They've spent a lot of money this offseason already, even though there's so many Yankee fans out there who accuse the Yankees of being cheap. Well, I think the Yankees have spent either the most or second most amount of money in free agency this year. Yeah. So the Yankees, while they have not gone buck wild because they are
making smart decisions.
They're making smart decisions, not sexy decisions. They're going with substance over style, and that bothers a lot of people.
This isn't CC Tex and AJ Burnett.
No,
it's not that. I mean, even AJ Burnett wasn't the sexy, but he came off a really good year. He came off a phenomenal year.
But that was a cumulative effect signing because you would already, wow, CC and Teixeira and AJ, like, oh my God, they're loading up. And this doesn't, like, what they've done this offseason has sort of been like drips and drabs, and it doesn't feel like loading up. It's been like, okay, we're going to pull a guy like Troy Tulowitzki off the scrap heap. Then we're going to sign, DJ LeMahieu, who's going to be sort of a jack of all trades. We're going to move him all over the infield, but that's not a big contract, 2 years, $24 million. We're going to bring CeCe back to be a cheerleader for another year. We're going to bring Gardner back to do the same for another year and keep some of that last bit of championship presence that we had and leadership on the team. Uh-huh. We're going to do all that. But I just this would not feel like the new Yankees to be bringing in Manny Machado at this point. I just don't see it happening. I do believe that the offer could have been made at one point.
Yeah, I do think,
I think it could have been pulled also.
I think this is kind of like the new Yankees, though. If they did in fact make this offer, because they were talking about Manny Machado getting a $400 million contract. His price has dropped down to almost 50% off So like that's where it could be.
Here's the other thing.
Them getting them at a bargain. It's like when you go to the store and you're like, oh, I don't really need this, but it's 60% off.
Well, that's what happens to me every time I go into Walmart and I walk down that clearance aisle. And I'm like, okay, do I need a 10-inch Buzz Lightyear for Lex when he already got one for Christmas? No, but you know what? It's a nice backup. So why not?
Exactly,
We'll get it for $10 because it was normally $30.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't need that Buzz Lightyear, but I got it.
Yes, the Yankees could be going Walmart shopping in the clearance aisle.
I didn't need that $10 Optimus Prime toy that I got for Lex either, and that I'm saving for him for next Christmas. But it was originally $30, and now it's $10, so I got it. By the way, all true stories. So that was not like an example that I made up. Those are real things.
And I will back that up as yes, he does this often.
I do it every time. The first aisle I go to when I walk into Walmart, even if I'm there for like a specific reason.
I have started to try just not walk down there because I see these
dangerous.
action figures and stuff down there, and I'm like, it was like what? It's only $7 now.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that it was $22.
Walmart made their clearance aisle for idiots like me, who when they have even just a little bit of disposable income burning a hole in their pocket, that's where I hit. It's like a tractor beam that pulls me in. It's unbelievable.
All right, so Damian, he made a couple posts already. He said this was like the Red Sox working to get under the threshold they were never going to live permanently below. They are manipulating it at best, as best as they can, then spending when they have the chance to win.
Which, by the way, I love.
Yeah,
that's
a great plan.
It is a great plan, and you may notice that you and I, at no point last year, ever said anything, even though for years as Yankee fans we used to take so much crap about the Yankees payroll. Yeah. But did you and I once say anything about the Red Sox payroll last year? No. And the reason why
I don't think the payroll, it doesn't matter.
I
mean, it matters, but I don't think it's like the end-all be-all.
I have never, and to me,
I'm never going to fault a team for spending money.
I would hope that Damian is smart enough. If he's as smart as I think he is, I would hope that he would be smart enough to say, and I am leading him right into a trap, and I'm sure he knows it. But I would hope that he would realize, like anybody else, that money never guarantees you anything. Just because you have the highest payroll, it never guarantees you a championship. And to me, that was an excuse that Red Sox fans made for years because they just simply weren't good enough to beat the Yankees. Mm-hmm. But then, if you look at the Red Sox payroll in the years that they won, it was either at the top or very close to the top.
Well, I mean, and
so was the Yankees. But I have never believed that. I always thought that was just a cheap excuse to say, well, you know what, we couldn't get the job done. And last year, the Red Sox had the highest payroll. They won. But do I think that's why they won? I do not. I think they won because they had the better team. They put together the best team, and it wasn't because of money. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had guys that were hurting their payroll last year, like Pablo Sandoval, who wasn't even on the team. Yeah. But that counted like $20 million against their. Yeah. But and the Yankees had that, and Jacoby Ellsbury too. I mean, look, I'm not naive. If you have the money, the more money you have, you can cover up mistakes.
Right. That's for sure. So, like Damian was saying, that's what big market teams should do, and I agree with that, but I also disagree with that. Like, I think there's times like when the Marlins they got themselves a couple championships, they went for it, and then the next year. And then they unloaded everybody. They just
that was like Wayne Huizenga's thing. Wayne Huizenga, who was at the time also the owner of the Dolphins, his priority was to actually get the Dolphins a championship. So once he got, like, Wayne Huizenga was one of those guys that before he died, he wanted to have a ring. I don't think he cared which one it was. He really wanted it to be the Dolphins, but he took the Marlins one, and then as soon as that happened, he tore it down, sold off all those parts, basically ripped that team apart, and then, he concentrated on the Dolphins again, which, unfortunately Wayne Huizenga died without a Super Bowl championship. But you know what? I mean, that's why I've just never been one of those guys who said money buys. I just don't believe money buys championships. It really doesn't. I mean, the New York Knicks, I've used this as an example for many years, have been a free spending team. They've brought in guys, and they've spent, they've gone right up to the salary cap, and the New York Knicks have not sniffed a championship since the 70s. So, I mean, you can spend all the money you want, but it guarantees you nothing. It doesn't even guarantee you a spot on the dance floor. Again, the Knicks are like proof of that.
Well, I mean, my Houston Rockets played them in the championship back in the 90s, so they were there.
I mean, but when I say,
I know what you mean.
They were close. Yeah. Yes, they actually were close against the Rockets, but they were not close. Like when they played the Spurs in the strike-shortened season in '99, and the Spurs completely mauled them in 5 games, they were never close. Right. They were actually an 8 seed in those finals. They were an 8 seed that had gotten into the championship and got just completely dismantled by Duncan and Robinson. But look, money. I think I agree with Damian just said there. Money can make your rebuild window much shorter. Yeah. Absolutely true. No question about it. But it guarantees you nothing. And that's why you and I didn't say one word last year about how the Red Sox had the highest payroll. And I'm still not going to give them crap for it.
Right.
Even though the shoe is on the other foot, I could not care less because I don't believe money guarantees you anything. You got to go out there and play the game. You still have to have good team chemistry. You have to have things happen. Money is not the reason why the Red Sox won 108 games last year. It's not.
No.
It wasn't a reason why the Yankees won 114 games in 1998. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. That team was built to win. That's really what it comes down to.
And the winning they did.
And
so that's pretty much what we have for Manny Machado going forward. I mean, did you want to quickly mention this whole thing going on with Harper and Machado?
Yeah,
I mean, it was a little. I mean, I don't know much about it. I don't know what's going on between these two guys.
Here's the problem I have with Dan Lozano and Scott Boras.
They're both morons,
who are the respective agents for Manny Machado and Bryce Harper.
Okay. These
guys, look, isn't your job as an agent to make your client happy? I mean, yes, we all know it's to also get your client paid. Let's not forget that. Mm-hmm. Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, through their agents, both made it very clear that they wanted to be $300 million plus men, and actually both were thought originally to be in the $400 million plus range, and that never materialized, and that's not materialized. In fact, I'll still be surprised if either of them gets $300 million unless the original offer.
I do want to say how I have been championing the fact that nobody was going to be a $400 million player. I've been saying that he's the only one that has the potential. But I was saying, there's no way Harper's going to get that money. I can't see a team being that stupid just because of his health issues. And Manny Machado, I just didn't see him as that good of a player. I just want to throw that out there. I happen to say that over the course of the last year or so. I've been saying.
I don't think either of these guys is close to being a $400 million player, and I would not pay either one of them $300 million either. So, and I like Harper more than I like Machado because I do believe that Bryce Harper has a special it factor, and I've said before, I believe that Bryce Harper is the kind of guy I could see having a big-time postseason moment, especially in pinstripes. That being said, I still wouldn't pay him $300 million. He's not that guy. Because, again, as a Yankee fan, we know that if you pay one of these guys $300 million, that means there's some guy down the road that you are not going to be able to re-sign. That means either Judge, Severino, Didi, Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, possibly Miguel Andujar, depending on how his career trends. Somebody is not getting paid if you bring one of these two guys in. And I think that was actually one of the biggest contributing factors for me as far as not wanting either one of them on the team. Because I knew that if you bring in an outsider and you pay him $250 to $300 million, that means down the road you are not signing one of those guys that we know we want to hang on to, that we know and that we feel is part of a championship core. I don't want to lose any of those guys in favor of Manny Machado or Bryce Harper. I really don't. I think though, as far as Lozano and Boras go, look, they're not bad agents because they're going to get their guys paid, but they are not. I do not believe. I think they are. I think they are acting selfishly right now because neither one of them wants to get outdone by the other agent with these two guys, who are comparable in production. Very different players, but comparable in terms of production. And each one is to the detriment of their client trying to get their guy more than the other one. And they're making it a competition about them and not about what the happiness of their clients is. Now, obviously, Machado and Harper are somewhat on board with this because they haven't signed contracts. If they really, really wanted to, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper could have been under contract already because ultimately it does not matter what their agent says. The decision comes down to them. If Bryce Harper said, I don't care, just get me in pinstripes. I don't give a crap. Or if he said, just I want to be a Philly. Make it happen. I don't get, you know what? I'm done. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to report to camp in a week or two. Just make it happen. Get me signed with the Padres. Get me signed with the Phillies. Get me signed with the Yankees. Get me signed with the Dodgers. Whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, if that's really what they want. So they're an accessory here. They're playing into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. But the bottom line is, everybody knows, it's like the worst kept secret in terms of baseball agents, that Lozano and Boris hate each other. They despise each other. They're constantly in competition, and they are clearly trying to one-up each other here, with Machado and Harper being of the same age, hitting the market at the same time, and having relatively similar production. They do not, and what they're doing is they're saying to each other, your guy's going to be the first guy to sign, and then I'm going to beat that by at least $1. And they're holding their own clients hostage, in my opinion. I mean, again, look, ultimately it comes down to the players, right? If the players want to sign the contract, they're going to sign the contract.
Right.
But that being said, these agents, I believe, are looking out for their own best interest right now, as opposed to that of their clients. And I think I think that has been a factor. I think it's at the very least been a factor in the slowdown of the market for these two guys.
Yeah, I couldn't really agree more. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But they are both, they are who they are, and that is they're both. They try to get as much money as possible, and they don't care about their. I honestly don't think they care that much about their clients. They care about the dollar figure, and if they don't get that dollar figure that they want, they just walk away. Like They don't walk away, but like they're like, oh, just hold out until you get it. Like, and it doesn't always seem to work out that way, but. Yep. I also wanted to really quickly just touch on the Phillies acquiring the catcher JT Realmuto, who their team is starting to look like the real deal. I mean, they're still a pitch. They still need a pitcher.
Yeah,
but they are not far off. They are not far off.
I think right now, to me,
like the Mets really made a lot of good moves, but the Phillies are counterpunching with some heavy hitters.
I would go and sign Keuchel right now if I were them, because I think you could get him at about 3 years and $50 million. Now, okay, there's an upside and a downside to Dallas Keuchel. The downside is, well, there's two things. One, we can clearly start to see there is a bit of a decline, and him going into the bandbox that is Citizens Bank Ballpark is particularly dangerous for a left-handed pitcher pitching to right field. That being said, going to the National League is probably the elixir he needs right now to maybe reset his career, because he will not be dealing with the DH. He will be able to work around weaker lineups towards the bottom, and I think it would be a good move for the Phillies. Plus, it really would help stabilize that rotation. It really would. You know, you got Arrieta, and you got also who's the other guy there that I'm missing?
Noah?
No. I can't remember the other guy's name, but it would give them a nice solid 3 guys at the top of their rotation. I really think if they want to compete in that division, Damien will probably know it. But if they really want to compete in that division, I think that would help them out.
Are you talking about Corbin?
Tremendously. No, Corbin went to the Nationals.
Oh, that's right. He's in the Nationals.
No. I can't remember the other guy.
I was like, oh, that's right. They put him on the screen. He didn't sign there. But it wasn't Aaron Nola? Wasn't he the guy?
Yes.
Nola.
Yes, that's it. That's the guy. Thank you. I think that would be a nice 3. But I really still think they're that pitcher short. But David Robertson went to the Phillies, so they did fill in the bullpen a little bit. No, it was not. No, it was Nola. So I really think that they need to get another pitcher. Maybe it's a Gio Gonzalez, maybe it's Keuchel, but they need somebody else. Yeah. I really to fill out that rotation. But if they do that, to me, they kind of almost have to be the favorites.
So Damien actually I posted it on the screen too, but this is for the podcast listeners. He said, speaking of the Phillies, I'd love to see them break the bank and sign both. That would be incredible. That would be absolutely insane. But and then he said the lineup would be something like Segura, Hernandez, Machado, Harper, Hoskins, Realmuto, Kutch, Herrera, and a pitcher.
Unbelievable. An unbelievable lineup to try and navigate.
I have Herrera as your number 8 hitter.
But even just adding one of them. Right now, they might be the favorite, by the way, in the NL East. They might be.
I would say they are.
I mean, it's them and what? Atlanta, probably?
Yeah. I mean, the Mets are close. The
Mets are close because of their top two pitchers are close. They're in the conversation.
They beefed up their offense a little
bit.
They
did, and they did. Yes. I mean, Cano, I think will play well there for a couple of years.
I actually think that the NL East is going to be a more competitive division than the AL East. I think that because we have a couple of heavy hitters at the top, and then it just really drops off.
I don't know though. I don't know about that. I don't know that Tampa's such a big drop off anymore.
Well, the Blue Jays and the Orioles are.
Oh yes, that without a doubt. But
so I think you have three teams that are really good. I think that they're because I think the Nationals are going to be good. I think it's going to be a very good division. I think Tampa's
a 90-win team again.
They could be.
I absolutely think they are. I thought that Morton signing was good, and then they made some kind of under the radar signings too that I thought were really good. I think they made some calls there where I think they've got a couple of guys who are looking for bounce back seasons. But I like what the Rays did this offseason. But Morton and Snell annoys me because Morton pitched really well against the Yankees and Snell's coming off a Cy Young. So I think the Rays are a 90-win team again. I really do, and I think they're going to be pesky pains in the ass no matter what.
Yeah, I think we have three good teams, but then it falls way off.
Yes,
the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it does fall off. It does fall off significantly
with the Birds.
Yeah, it does. Yes,
the Birds. They just
birds are getting shot down. Yeah.
It's quail hunting.
Let's
go quail hunting.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, anyways, though, that's kind of where I think we are with baseball right now. A lot going on, and things are maybe picking up. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting. He just said, Damian just said, a full season of Glasnow is going to be great for the Rays. I would like to see him, finally step up and have a good, healthy, full, long season where he, comes into the prospect that he was always been touted as, and we haven't really seen much of it yet. But I'd like to see him play well. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for us baseball wise. Now we can just quickly go on to LeBron.
Oh, this guy.
I need to know what the heck you're talking about. I mean, I don't know if it's tongue in cheek. I don't know if you just absolutely hate him now. You call him a fraud. I
don't hate him. I don't hate him, but I will tell you, the way that he has conducted himself, I think, since going to the Lakers, he's really, I think he's made people forget that Magic Johnson is actually the general manager of this team, and that Jeannie Buss is the owner, because everything that's happened since he's been there.
Yeah.
First of all, there was this tweet the other day from Clay Travis, who I think is a guy who covers the NBA, and this was on the 7th, so it was 2 days ago. LeBron tried to trade away his entire team. He couldn't do it, and now he has to play with those guys for the rest of the year. Yikes.
They obviously didn't care much. They went out and beat the Celtics at a buzzer beater the other night.
And then I think this was according to Jackie McMullen. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of tension in that building, referring to the Staples Center.
Yeah.
A lot of tension in that building, and I think people are wondering about Luke Walton. Even though Jeannie Buss came out very strongly and said, I want Luke to be here, I back him 100%, but then also made the point that has to be made, and that's that she hired Irvin Magic Johnson to make those decisions. And if Irvin feels differently, she gave him the power to make those kinds of decisions. It's clear to me, and probably to you, Brian, she was talking to Brian Windhorst.
Not you?
That LeBron's camp would prefer
she should have called you Bryman.
Right. It's clear to me, and probably to you, Brian Windhorst, that LeBron's camp would prefer a coaching change. They're not too subtle about that. Windhorst said, LeBron publicly hasn't talked in a month. McMullen, not LeBron, but all the people around LeBron, and they've made it known. I don't think this is a shock for me to say this. And then Windhorst said, that's a fair thing to say. That's a fair thing to say. And then, so then you have, this had to be one of my favorite all-time chants from a crowd in recent history. Brandon Ingram is at the free throw line in Indiana, and 20,000 people are serenading him with, LeBron's gonna trade you. LeBron's gonna trade you. And you know what's really disturbing to me? And it's just, like, LeBron didn't really, all he kind of said was like, oh, well, you know what? He said, this was a tweet from Ryan Ward, who I think is a guy who covers the Lakers. LeBron James on if the trade rumors has affected the team. I don't know. I mean, obviously we have a lot of guys that have been in trade talks the last couple weeks. That's never been in that position before. So you have to ask those guys and how they're dealing with it. He is just throwing his guys under the bus. He does not care about anybody. He wants Anthony Davis on that team in the worst way. And they basically
offered like the whole team.
But you know what's funny? Magic Johnson, who I thought was absolutely an alpha male, and who I do still think is an alpha male, he seems like the secondary guy on this team. There is a perception, and I'm not sure that it isn't true, that LeBron James is the general manager of this team, that LeBron James has been the general manager of every team he's been on. So hold on, there was another thing that I wanted to read. This was like an excerpt from the Washington Post. And this is what bothered me too about LeBron James. I think is really a huge hypocrite too, because he said, so this was okay. So Harrison Barnes, who was traded like mid-game by the Mavericks, like he was still in the game, and I think he was traded, and he was informed during the game. So, yeah.
Say that again? I missed it.
Harrison Barnes, I think it was Harrison Barnes, who was traded by the Mavericks, like mid-game.
Yeah.
So LeBron, like, went off about that. So he said, so let me guess, James wrote in a caption accompanying an image of Barnes on the Dallas bench. This is cool because they had to do what was best for the franchise, right? Traded this man while he was literally playing in the game and had zero idea. James says he wasn't, quote-unquote, knocking the Mavs for doing what you feel is best, but he wanted to make a point that if teams can take that approach with players, then the reverse ought to be acceptable as well. The Lakers star said Wednesday that he wanted to change the, quote-unquote, narrative that a player who, quote-unquote, wants to be traded or leaves a franchise is selfish/ungrateful. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of funny to me because this is the same guy who's trying to trade everybody on his team to get Anthony Davis to come on board with him. But it's not good. It's not good if first of all, LeBron, we're at the trade deadline. You don't expect players to get traded while they're actually while they're actually playing in games? This happens in baseball all the time. Guys are like told while they're on the bench. Yeah, get out of here. In fact, go to the other dugout.
Yeah.
That's where you got traded to.
Yeah, that has happened.
It has happened. This was a very scathing. So you know Peter Vesey, right? Peter Vesey.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a longtime NBA analyst and reporter. Peter Vesey.
Is he still with Sports Illustrated? Was he with them for a while?
He was with them for a long time. I don't know
Does
that
he write on his own now? I think he writes on his own now.
I think he does too. This was reported on WEEI. So let's see. This is just an excerpt of an article. Vesey went on to add that he's not merely speculating about a LeBron trade, but that he's heard that Magic Johnson, and Jeannie Buss are legitimately frustrated with the future Hall of Famer, particularly as he turns his back on players like Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and Brandon Ingram. Here's Vesey's commentary. He's doing everything wrong, Vesey said. He was supposed to take these guys under his wing. Instead, he threw them under buses, planes, and trains. Clear the roster. He's got no respect for anybody. Davis is a good player. There's no question he's an all-star. But what has he done? He hasn't been good enough to take anybody anywhere worthwhile. He's only gotten them to the second round once and the playoffs twice. If I'm the Lakers, I try to trade LeBron for a couple of key pieces, keep all those young guys, and move forward.
Whoa.
That was Peter Vesey.
That'll never happen.
No. and this was... And then this is the other thing. Like, LeBron's getting like beyond arrogant about himself, too. You may recall that recently he touted himself. He said the thing that proved he was the greatest player of all time was that he took Cleveland beating Golden State and him delivering a championship to Cleveland. He said in an interview that he felt like that was the proof that he was the greatest of all time, essentially passing MJ or anybody else who you'd want to put on that plateau. And then recently he had this quote, and this is just such garbage. I still can't believe he said this. This was a quote from him on the top Eastern Conference teams. This was reported by The Athletic. Those top teams in the East, yeah, they're going for it. Everybody in the East thinks they can get to the finals because they ain't got to go through me. So basically what he's saying is that now that he's out of the East, he doesn't have to, nobody has to go through him anymore. I mean, the arrogance of this guy is absolutely next level. He loves him some him right now.
He's confident.
He is confident. He's kind of turning into an a-hole, though. He really is. I think he's, you know what?
He knows what he wants, and he goes to those positions where he
you know
can get it.
But there is some irony in that statement, though, because nobody has to go through him in the West to get to the finals. The teams that are going to get to the finals are not going to have to worry about going through him. And even if they did, going through him ain't a big deal right now. Because I can tell you right now, if they were the 8 seed and they had to go through Golden State, bye-bye, LeBron. You're getting trapped. That team will maul you like a lion going after an infant toddler.
I bet you they take 2 games.
They will maul him. Oh my God, no chance. I wouldn't even give them a game. If they
definitely get a game.
If they won a game, 1 game against Golden State, I would actually consider that a moral victory for LeBron. That team will get destroyed. Destroyed. Anyways, I know we only have a couple minutes left, and I do want to talk about Stephen A. Smith very, very quickly.
Oh, I want to hear about this. So because his football coverage is the best.
Oh my God, Stephen A. Smith just gotta look. I don't know. Doesn't he have a research team? This is one of the most prominent personalities in sports on television. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
He used to have a nationally syndicated show with Skip Bayless. He does his, now he does this thing with Max Kellerman, and Max Kellerman, I think, probably just can't stand it anymore because this guy is so uninformed.
Yeah.
But he said, so this was Stephen A. Smith's assessment of Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who is likely not only a first-round pick, but could very well be the number 1 overall pick to a team that
he's a burner.
So, on his show, he said Dwayne Haskins is more of a runner than a thrower. Haskins is big time, I know this, and I'm not saying he can't pass, but I view him the way I view him. Just an eye test thing. I'm not talking statistically. Make of it what you will. Okay, well, here's the problem though, Stephen A. You have to talk about statistics. You can't just make the statement that you think this guy is a running quarterback when he is clearly not. Every statistic. Okay. Dwayne Haskins last year.
He went for over 10 yards in a game twice.
He threw for 4,831 yards and 50 touchdowns. He essentially had a Patrick Mahomes year.
Yeah.
His rushing statistics, 108 yards, 4 touchdowns. In his career at Ohio State.
Dude, that's like Tom Brady numbers.
Yes. Those are like Tom Brady rushing numbers. In his career at Ohio State, he only has 194 rushing yards. Dwayne Haskins is a passing quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback. You know what's kind of ironic about this? Stephen Smith is almost coming off as like a stereotypical racist. Because he's looking at a black quarterback and he's saying, I see a runner. Well, that's the stereotype of black quarterbacks. He's looking at that and he's saying, instead of saying, well, maybe I should really look at I get paid a ton of money to do what I do, so maybe I should look at some game film on Dwayne Haskins. And 2, how about just a glaring look at the stats? Just look at nothing else but the statistics. 108 yards he ran for. That would be less than 10 yards per game. I mean, I would run for 108 yards. I would scramble just trying to avoid getting killed. I would scramble for probably 108 yards.
Yeah. I was just
831 yards and 50 touchdowns. Those are massive passing numbers. Stephen A. Smith just does not belong. He doesn't belong in his job. He doesn't belong on television. He is the absolute definition of a hack. Get him off of TV.
They should not have him talk football.
No! I mean, the whole thing, when he butchered that whole thing with Hunter Henry,
Yeah.
and then the fact that the Chargers
Kareem
were in
Hunt.
San Diego, the Kareem Hunt thing, I mean, oh
played with the
my
Saints.
God. Oh my God. Like, does he like roll out of bed and then just go to it? Like, he doesn't have a research staff? What network does he work for? Is it still ESPN or is he on Fox?
Stephen A?
Is it
Yeah,
ESPN?
ESPN, yeah.
He's got his own like syndicated radio show too. This guy is a big time television sports personality. How? How is this allowed? You and I are way more informed than he is, and we get paid nothing to do this. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that grinds my gears.
You know what grinds my gears? So Damien's chiming in because, his obvious favorite sport is baseball. And I don't think any of the other sports even hold a candle to it. But he said that's like people who think Jackie Bradley Jr. The thing that Damien does understand very well is statistics. So, correlating those things, he said that's like people who think Jackie Bradley Jr. is a big-time stolen base threat. He's a moderate runner on the base paths, if that. But he's black and he plays excellent defense, so he must be fast, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, like Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner's super fast, but he can't steal bases.
Here's what's funny about it, though. Imagine I'm gonna do the Matthew McConaughey a time to kill thing for you here at the end. I'm gonna say, close your eyes and imagine Stephen A. Smith is white. And if you do that and he makes that statement that he does, oh my God, he's canned already, because they will say that's a racist white dude who just made that statement about Dwayne Haskins being a running quarterback, even though every statistic you look at and every bit of game film you look at the guy shows that he is clearly a pocket passer. That guy is getting canned, and he's getting trashed on social media. Luckily for Stephen A. Smith, the color of your skin really helped you out this time, buddy, because you would have been labeled a massive racist for saying what you did, because you made a stereotypical comment about black quarterbacks.
That's a positive.
Sorry, it's true though.
It would be interesting to see if he says, when there's a good runner that's a white guy, and but he calls him a pocket passer. Right. It'd be interesting to see if he says that.
Yeah.
But Damien actually wrote. He goes, "There are other sports. I thought you were just discussing sorts."
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I'll tell you. Stephen A. Smith is such a hack. Get him off. I will say, though, the looks that Max Kellerman gives him are really great, though.
They are.
It's really funny, because he's just like, how are you?
I can't even imagine
how are you employed?
Can you imagine the back and forth that him and Skip would have right now? If they were still, because Skip is, for one, he gets under a lot of people's skin. But the one thing that he's always prepared.
He knows. Yeah,
he's always prepared.
Yeah. He's not a hack. He's just kind of a clown.
He's got that way of getting under your skin. Like,
absolutely,
and he can do it to everybody.
But Stephen A. Smith is straight up a hack. There's just no other way to say it.
When it comes to football, I do think that he knows basketball very well. I don't think he knows baseball. I don't think he knows football very well. And I don't know about boxing. I don't know if he knows boxing well or not. But he knows basketball. That's where his niche is.
Kellerman, who's more of a boxing guy,
yeah.
But he yes.
He
is at least well informed when he goes into these live.
I think you have people like Skip and Max, and there's plenty of others. Even like Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp is very well informed.
Yes, and I think that because they do their own work. Whereas I think Stephen A. is so busy, he has to let other people do the work for him and gets that rundowns.
Well, then those people need to be fired.
Right.
He thought Hunter Henry had been playing all year, and he was excited about that matchup.
I'm excited, too. You doing your Stefan?
I just don't know how he's allowed to be on TV. I don't get it. Don't understand. How are you and I not paid to do this? And that guy is paid millions.
Maybe we should offer our assistance to be his fact checkers.
Oh my God, I wouldn't want to be his fact checkers. You know how long it would take to check all that crap?
Well, no, but we would be the one who actually do all the research for him, and then
something would slip through the cracks because he messes up so much crap. I mean, I don't know. You're right. I mean, I want to talk about Hunter Henry. Well, what do you want to talk about? He's been on the DL all year. Oh,
that's what I want to talk about.
I don't know. I can't anymore. I can't anymore with Stephen A. Smith. Maybe this should be the last time we talk about Stephen A. Smith because we talked about him twice now in like a 2-month span.
Pretty funny,
going back to the. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we need to bring it up.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, listening. However you took this in, you can find Sports and Sorts anywhere on social media. YouTube, obviously. You can find us at Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find me on Twitter at Einhorn is Finkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And Damien just set up a macro that types, "You are incorrect. Try again." And use it every time something is sent to you for checking.
I mean, look, you and I have made mistakes on this show,
yeah.
and I've done it. Look, but we're also not nationally syndicated.
But I'm not going to double down on the mistake.
No, that's the other thing with Stephen A. Smith. He actually doubled down on this one too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he doubled.
It's an eye
test. Yeah.
But how?
You gotta get your glasses, bro. You gotta get some glasses, dude.
Eye test, though. Look at the. Okay.
Were you watching the tape and fast forward? Like, what was going on?
Look, there is no way you could look at his statistics and say that those are taken out of context and that he's a running quarterback. That's not
an
possible.
eye test. The eye test is watching the guy on 1.5 times speed, and he's really fast.
Do we count drop back steps as like
when
yards?
If
that's the case, sure.
He drops back 0.3 seconds faster than every other college quarterback.
If he's taking a 7-step drop on every snap, then okay, yeah, and you're counting that as rushing yards, then absolutely. Well, he's also the worst rushing quarterback of all time because that's a lot of negative yardage. I don't. I mean, is he?
It's Barry Sanders like.
It's like, do you remember like when Ferris Bueller wanted to like reverse the odometer by putting the car in reverse?
Yeah.
Is that like I don't know. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith is thinking.
Thank you guys for watching.
My God.
And we will see you again on Monday.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Stay classy, Planet Club.
Bye.